Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. That is good.
Flying Monkeys Wargaming Podcast, where if wargaming was easy, it'd be your mom. This is episode 209. We just kind of go through what everybody's thinking about the meta, or how everybody feels about the meta a little bit. I don't know if we really come up with any real solutions. I'll also talk a little bit about Dan's Khornhusker win, ran by the Bug Eater people. His selling out his soul to add mech. So hope you guys enjoy the episode. Probably have a full crew back next week. And I'm headed to Midmo next week, so maybe we can have Ben Spears on, or talk a little bit about Midmo, what's going into Midmo, what's happening. So thanks for listening. Always thanks for supporting the podcast. Here's the episode. Back for another episode. It's the aftermath of, I guess, the Khornhusker GT here in the Lord Marshall, and then SoCal Open happened. So those were our big events on the radar for the weekend. And get you introduced to everybody that's here tonight. We have Dan. I swear it's Imperium Sammons. What's up, Dan?
Not much.
Fresh off of a GT win. And swears up and down it's not ad mech list. So
I don't make the rules.
For those that might not know, Scott Sasser is a force to be reckoned with out of Forge World, Columbia. He's going to start joining us on the podcast. What's up, Scott?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
No problem. So Scott can be the resident chaos player for now. Are you still rolling with Death Guard?
No, I actually got rid of those already.
What?
So yeah, man.
He's playing Admech now.
Truth.
Are you really?
No. I'm gonna go to Orcs, I think. So they seem to
switch.
They seem to take. No, I'm not going to buggies though. I think the Evil Sons with like the faster than used Warlord trade. So I like that. So
just run all the bikes.
Yeah, like bikes and Squig Hog Boys and shit. So just have some.
Dude, bikes are a lot of shots. I don't think they suck.
Yeah,
they're easy to kill. Well, so those who don't know, you guys saw the results of the SoCal Open. There's a lot of people out there talking and complaining about the meta, and I put up a couple questions on the Facebook page, and we'll get into them later. First, I kind of like to go through Dan's weekend, since he won a GT in easy mode.
Dude, that was an understatement. So there was like what? Well, a couple of them dropped, but there was 6 or 7 Grey Knight players there. I think we had 8 originally.
Yeah.
So, and I think 2 of them dropped.
And but you came out on top, and with your ad mech assassin Imperium mix. So
yeah.
You can't even look at me with a straight face when I say that, dude.
Like, no, I'm gonna keep painting.
I'm assembling things.
Are you gonna at least confess when you go to church on Sunday?
No, I don't feel guilty at all.
Okay.
So here's what's so stupid about it. I played like half a turn of a practice game, and I was like, well, this is pointless. And then I went to the tournament. So round 1, I got actually paired up against the Ringer. So
nice.
I got a practice game at the tournament against Tyranids. So, smashed them. Obviously, didn't really matter because it was the Ringer game. And then game 2, I played against Dilly's Drakari, and that was actually like a legit tight game because I didn't know my rules correctly. So I ended up only beating it by 2 points, like 64-62. So Drakari still real good. Yeah. And then game 3, I played against Kyle Thompson from North Dakota up there north, and he's playing Grey Knights, and that was another really close game that really wasn't decided till like maybe the end of turn 4, when his last baby carrier finally died. And then round 4 was against Scott Blegan, Custodes, and Custodes just don't. I went first, which made it even worse. But Custodes
He did pretty well with that
really
list
can't
over the
deal with
weekend,
his
though,
admin
didn't he?
Yeah, he ended up going 4-1, and Kyle also went 4-1. And then I played Tyler DeVries in the finals, and he was 4-1. And
What was Tyler
DeVries,
playing again?
Grey Knights.
Yeah.
So that one was another really close game. I think it was 77-72, so a 5-point game. So, and that one, those Grey Knight games, like they're really up in the air until you kill all those baby carriers. Once the last baby carrier goes down, you can kind of figure it out. But I mean, I had some pretty close games over the weekend. I didn't learn till like yesterday or today that Rangers get a pregame move. I didn't even know that. So but AdMech is just, they're stupid. And I don't even think I was playing I definitely wasn't playing the list correctly and was making some mistakes. And I mean, that's just how strong they are if you kind of have a basic understanding of the game. But yeah, the Cluxus Assassin was the MVP though, especially against 2 Grey Knight players. That dude literally survived both those games and was in like the opponent's deployment zone on their home objective, punching shit, tying shit up, and fucking up their secondaries, trying to score the purifying ritual.
Did you enjoy having all 4 assassins?
No, I
Was
just
it
had
fun?
I just had the one.
Oh, okay.
I just had an auxiliary support attachment with 1 assassin in it. So that makes it Imperium. Whereas if you put the assassin in your main detachment, then you're not Imperium. So
the one that doesn't cost you 2 CP.
Yeah, if it doesn't, you got to spend 2 CP to get the Imperium label. So I took the penalty.
Purposely playing with a handicap. Okay.
Not
But the
gaming
one-
it at all, huh?
Yeah, not at all.
And it kind of leads into the other conversation is the one consistent thing, myself included, everyone was kind of very meh on the 40K right now. You know, everyone is just kind of like, the scenarios are kind of old, secondaries are kind of old, and the game balance is super fucked. Dilly played again. We had the second most popular faction was Orcs. I think there was 5 Orc players there, and I think Dilly had to play against him 2 times. And I think he was asking about Marvel Crisis Protocol or something else.
It's a good game.
You guys played checkers? Is that okay?
Yeah, he was getting. I mean, the orcs are strong into Drakari, and he had to feel that pain twice. So,
was it all mechanized lists?
There mostly were mechanized lists. There was one that wasn't, I think, but anyway, it was. I mean, overall, it was a pretty fun weekend. Relaxed. I don't think there's any drama. It rained like crazy on Sunday, but no, it was a good event. Just people kind of all wishing for the game to be in a better state. So.
Yeah, it's kind of the feeling, I don't know what's going on up in Scott's region, which, if you guys listen to this, Dan's a little bit further up north in the Omaha area, and Scott's over St. Louis area, Missouri. Yeah, cousin fuckerland, as I affectionately call it. And of course, me down, Kansas, Oklahoma area. And my area, dude, it's, I've got a couple of, like you guys both know Alice Kuhn, and get another vet, James, that moved to our area that's been playing 40K, as a YouTube channel, this podcast. And, neither of them dudes are really motivated to play right now. And a lot of the guys on the team are kind of not motivated to play. And just the state of the meta is kind of, I don't know how to say it. Like, the only change has been like, we've traded out one tyrant for another. When you kind of think of it, it's I think some armies can handle the orc build pretty well. Some can't, but I think the ones that can handle the orc build pretty well are the ones that can't handle the edmech well. And it's definitely a more dedicated paper rock scissors than it had ever been before. But like some fucking armies aren't even on the chart. So what's it been up like where you at, Scott? You guys get chomping at the bit, or they laying low?
So like the guys in St. Louis are all playing a lot, like a lot. multiple stores hosting tournaments every month. Columbia, we used to host a tournament every month, but now it's been pretty low key. So a lot of basement games, which are fine because you don't really get you don't see a lot of the extremes, obviously, in basement games. But Vegas was fun when we went there, so that was pretty extreme. But for the most part, people are chomping at the bit. Especially with Minimum Maelstrom coming up, so people are ready to play, but still kind of weary of it because like the first turn, like the SoCal, like I said, just made everybody not want to fucking play at all. So
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, this is fun. Like you watch one what we can consider one of the better players just get trounced like that. It's like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, and I do.
He was playing Drakari. Get fucked.
I agree, but he did go semi away from the normal build. Still made it work. Obviously, it's Drakari. They got the rules right, but I mean, no game should be over turn one. No game.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, and I think he was destined to lose that.
Yeah,
anyway.
Absolutely.
But he went for kind of a little bit of a risky play, and it didn't work out. So that's part of it. But
yeah,
he was going to probably lose that game regardless.
But again,
that's kind of we'll see what happens when they eventually release an FAQ.
But my thing is, like, even to make a mistake, you can make a mistake in a game, but even to make a mistake in a game to where like you've just lost it by the bottom of turn one, what's that say about the state of the game? If there's not even a chance to play your way back, another turn or two of making it right, it's like you're just like, get wrecked, nerd. Like you're just done, and that's kind of it's just a weird place to see the game state. Like even I don't think the game's the most broken it's ever been. I do want to stipulate that. Like we don't see Screamer Stars out there. There's not a Magnus out there with like a 2-up rerollable, gimmick or whatever. There's no Bark Star like occupying the board. Town R's not a thing. So I do want to give some credit there that I don't think it's the most broken it's ever been, but I do think that it's after coming off of 8th edition, where we really had like interactive GW, we had FAQs after books came out, we had stuff that happened, the response time was pretty reasonable. You'd get a book and everybody would be like, oh, I'll just hang out for a couple of weeks. And we'd get in a rat or an FAQ a couple of weeks later. And to go from that, and then like the biannual big updates to like, just nothing. Like they retreated to the ivory towers and that's it, and so I think it's kind of weird to be conditioned or have the expectation that they're going to be interactive with the game and make sure things are right, for them to just completely disengage, and then for this length of time to kind of do it is really, it brings the feel bads, and Drakari was really oppressive, and we were told, just hang out. And like AdMech was going to be the answer to that, and like then AdMech was super oppressive and Drakari was still oppressive. And then like the Orc book comes along, and it's like, so 3 books. And then somewhere you slip in Sisters, which I think Sisters is actually a pretty decent book. It's just a lot of good builds that don't feel crazy, that don't feel out of place. Like that Sisters book seems pretty balanced. And
yeah.
And here we are. And that's kind of where I think I'm at, is like, I've sat and, built every Space Wolves list I can build, and still going there. And like, I'm playing on hard mode, I'm absolutely playing on hard mode. And other armies that, like the Grey Knight's got a good book. I think Thousand Suns got a decent book, and I go play Grey Knights, and like my Grey Knights definitely feel different than my Space Wolves did, and play a lot better in the meta, but they still, can run into AdMech or run into, to the right Orc list and just not have anything left.
I mean, Grey Knight's book is pretty damn strong too. Like Grey Knights can handle Orcs. They can do fairly well against most AdMech, I think too. But I think they're right up there. Just people aren't. They're the next boogeyman on the totem pole, but they're right up there.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys do it a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean it's still power armor, right? Like I mean, Marines are always be fucking decent, though. You know.
Yeah.
So.
So like with my orc list, one of the armies I've killed the least amount ever going first against was Grey Knights, because they put the put a bunch of stuff in deep strike and then put the Tide of Shadows up, so
Yeah.
they're all like I did that and went try to alpha them, and I killed I don't know, it was like 2 servitors and put a couple wounds on a baby carrier. It was like nothing.
Plus, yeah, I mean,
So,
you gotta kill 2 units just to get the +1. So I mean, that
yeah.
makes it even worse. You know.
So, but the state of the game is kind of in a shitty spot, and like I didn't play in 6th and 7th, but you go and you look at 8th and up to now 9th. I don't think we've had, like, we had some, there was definitely some broken things like the Iron Hands Leviathan and Yanari and other stuff, but I don't think any of that stuff lasted as long in duration as the stuff has lasted now. Like Drakari's coming up on 7 months. The only thing that lasted kind of longer was the Castellan was around, but that was it wasn't, I don't think it was as bad once they nerfed the CP on it, but yeah, like 7 months of Drakari is just kind of stupid, and we're coming up on June, so 6 months or no, 5 months or something of AdMech. So
I mean, it was like at least a year more of the Screamer Star, which was one of the most impressive things I thought. Just because it's like, how do I win this game without ever being able to interact with your army? It was like, how do I win this game by being able to do that? And it's very unenjoyable.
Yeah, see, I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah, like I mean, so that's what I still like about. I mean, while the missions are getting stale, at least there's nothing like, all right, the Leviathan Dread was like the closest thing to, here's something that's fucking unkillable. Waste your time shooting at it, for the most part, which is like, at least you could play the mission around them, while albeit still very hard. The missions still at least favor sitting in a certain spot, at least. So
I do think some new missions with some different play styles would be dope. I hope we see that at Chapter Proof.
If they just,
because last year's Chapter Proof felt like we just copied last year's homework and turned it in again. Or
another Band-Aid.
It was the exact same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Took a paper they turned in their old English class and turned it in their new English class. So one thing I think that what would you guys do? I guess I'll start with you, Scott. What do you think you'd do to fix the game state? What would your suggestions be?
Just again, I don't know how limit the turn 1 ending game enders. Like the flyers being limited to 1 detachment, or having their own separate detachment that you have to pay CP for that you can't necessarily maximize. I think I heard someone say, like, just have like 2 flyers and it costs you 2 CP to get that detachment. Just try to limit.
Where did you hear that? I heard that too. I think I heard that somewhere on some.
I heard it on a podcast today, I think, somewhere.
Yeah, I heard that.
But it's been regurgitated a couple times, or maybe Salty John said. I can't remember. But just some, in the player place terrain. I mean, I don't know if you guys have done it, but I think that's awesome. I think that is the way, not necessarily how every tournament should run it, but like that is a really fantastic way to at least limit some of the feel bads. Now, every terrain piece isn't good, but player place was really good. I really enjoyed it. So.
See, I think planes fall into the same thing that knights do. Like, I don't have a problem with them being in the game, but I think they should just be overcosted. So if you want to use them, fine, go ahead, do it. But you're going to be paying more than they're worth. So
yeah, I'm in the points adjustments as well, or just like I said, just limiting them the way you can take them is also, I think, great, because it is worth not worth necessarily devoting an entire detachment and forcing your hand on CP as well. Whereas you could just take them free as right now. So, but no, a Daka jet should not cost 100 points.
No. So I mean, I think there's endless ways you go fix the core rules and fix some of this shit, like, you know, to adjust that. But my faith in GW is at an all-time low. So I think the only way stuff's going to get done at a realistic pace to keep the game engaging is get your TOs to work together and come up with a freaking comp pack or something.
Yeah. And that's kind of my thing is like, I've been a big advocate since 8th edition, you know, for kind of letting Games Workshop fix their own game.
Yeah.
And like my opinion's starting to turn on that. You know, like I know a couple of people a few different times talked about, you know, ban campaign books, you know, when the campaign supplements come out, you know, ban them. And yeah, Dan's been big on it. And at first I was kind of like, man, Games Workshop just needs to fix your game. Games Workshop needs to come just fix your game. And my thing is like, we're putting a fucking supplement book out, and like you guys are still missing codexes for this edition. Like, you know, why can't you fucking wait for the supplements until the codexes have gotten dropped? You know, it makes no sense. But I do think that there's going to be a point where, you know, we're really fatigued. Guys aren't as enthusiastic to come out for events. You know, the TOs might need to start fixing things, like do the one flyer per detachment type deal. You know, that might be a good one up front that would be easy, still let people build competitive lists and not, you know, screw them out of their army. But, you know, and that's not to say what chapter proof points won't be doing or will be doing here in a month or two. But it's going to reach a point where I think the TOs are going to have to make the decision that, you know, if we want people to come out for this game and want the people to attend events and still be enthusiastic about it, we need to figure out some kind of comp pack. And I think the writing's on the wall if that's going to happen before too long, if they keep it up at this pace.
I mean, I think, you know, like if they witness another event, you know, FLG event, or even, you know, their event in Ulster or whatever it is, you know, if they see another abusive list, you know, eventually they may take notice, you know, maybe, but again, you know, my faith in GW is better now. You know, I've been playing the game for a long time, and the reason I think it's better now is because they're at least implementing the people that I think want to see the game succeed, and they're like they're, you know, slowly but surely over the last, you know, edition, they've brought in people that they thought that have close ties with the community, like Mike Rant, you know, doing the tournaments and everything like that may have a bunch of people behind them chirping as well, that at least can send it in a good direction, maybe. So
chirp harder.
So, I mean, hey, dude, that's what you can pray on. But
yeah, I don't have that much faith in them, you know. And that's the thing is, like back in the day, like Warhammer Fantasy. Did you guys play 8th edition Fantasy?
Oh yeah.
No.
You remember Hell?
Sucked, man.
Do you remember Hell Pit Abominations?
Yep.
Yeah, like those things were mostly comp to only one per army because it just was fucking not fun to play against two of those, you know. And so you do the same kind of thing, you know. You could, your Drukari succubuses, you got the two builds of them. You could just say, hey, you can only take one of these two relics and one of these two warlord traits. You can only take one of those succubuses. You know, you give people the option, and just it will make the game more fun to play against that, and it'll force those, you know, Drukari players to try something new and not, you know, whatever. But it's not a bad thing to have a comp pack as long as it's not, you know, done stupidly. And this will be the big. This is where, because I mean, there's an FAQ coming. We already know that.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's probably another 6 weeks out, I'd guess, at the earliest. But so let's take Orcs for a good example. The Orc book is pretty shit, actually. You know, the stratagems are trash. The book, the way the detachments are set up is literally worse than every other book for no apparent reason. But if GW goes in and I mean, frankly, the melee orcs are just not in a great spot. But so if they go in, they nerf buggies and they nerf the planes and everything like that, which is fine because the stuff is a little overtuned, at least in freebooters. But if you're going to do that, at the same time you nerf that down, they need to buff the other side of it back up so that stuff's playable. But if they do that, then I'll give GW credit. saying that yeah, they've got their head in the right spot, at least approaching it correctly.
How many
But if
Necrons were at Cornhusker?
One, I
zero.
think. One.
One. You actually had a Necron
Yeah.
player, huh?
But kind of what Tim said earlier, it was Joe who's going for best Necrons in Lord Marshall this year. So
Start
yeah.
early.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it was, but that's kind of, yeah. But GW nerfs doesn't usually buff, so they're gonna, for all we know, they're gonna go in and they're gonna smack down the Orc vehicles and leave the Orc book in a crap place, and maybe they'll destroy the Drakari book and the Admech book, and then we're just gonna have Grey Knights on top. So,
Dude, I don't know, man. I hope they do something with Admech. I think Drakari's easy. Well, not easy. I think Drakari can be countered. You know, I've had some pretty good games against Drakari where, you know, sure, some of the stuff sucks.
Yeah,
but
me as well.
What's that?
I've had some good games against Jakar as well, but my Death Guard was pretty good against him, I felt.
Yeah, and but Admech in a lot of ways just seems like that definitely needs dealt with. Thanks, man.
yeah, the funny,
Scott's ugly face.
Hey, Scott. Not
Hey,
ugly face. Hey, Dan.
one of the funniest things to me over the weekend too, and I said it when they did that nerf for Admech, where they changed that stratagem to be rapid fire on your weapons to heavy 3. I'm like, that's kind of just a sideways buff. And
yeah,
I never shot anybody within rapid fire range for, you know, usually it's like turn 1, I'm shooting across the board, triple tap, and it's like, man, I just get an extra shot on everybody because of GW decided to buff this fucking unit. Like, it was just so stupid. So,
Did you run any campaign book shit?
no, can't, because I took the assassin.
Oh, that's true.
yeah.
Imperium. For those listening, I'm doing air quotes. But
I would have if I could have. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just was reading some of the stuff people were posting. But
yeah, let's go through and read some of those. Are you on the Facebook page for the podcast?
yeah, I got distracted. I was looking at
Did you? So
the thread on the TO group. So,
oh my,
yeah,
it's.
yeah.
Dan
I
pretty
mean,
much just showed up here to troll, but in Dan's defense, I trolled him earlier this week, so it's
yeah. Blegan makes a good point. You know, GW needs to be proactive in fixing the balance issues, and then they need to admit there's a problem and say they are working on it. That's probably the most frustrating thing is all those freaking MetaWatch articles coming out and saying, "Oh, look, the game's fine. There's no issues."
yeah.
And that's the other thing. GW's own format, while it's their own format skews results. You know, because you only need to go win your first 4 games, and in a giant event, you can have a lot of people win 4 games.
Yeah, correct. It's easy. It's easier to win 4 games. In my opinion.
You win your first 4 games, and then you are locked into a top 16. So that's how they're actually getting their variety in the top. It's because they're doing it differently than everybody else. Like if you played it out, you'd have the exact same top placings as everyone else have. But you're cutting so early that it's skewing the results from those events.
But even that, though, you know, what was top table though at New Orleans?
Exactly.
Drakari.
Yeah.
You know, it's
well, and so speaking of that, I was watching all because I got into Austin, got in off the wait list for that, and
Nice.
so I was like, well, I should look at the train. So I was watching all the streams and kind of skipping through them and watching it, and you know, trying to get a better feel for that terrain because I haven't practiced on it yet, and that terrain is ridiculously skewed towards like a Drakari army. And it's also like Siegler's list with all the melee units with the planes, the Admech melee units with the planes. I mean, that is the most perfect list for that terrain. Like you wouldn't believe. Like,
And those ruins pieces were guaranteed to block line of sight. The ones that the L's were guaranteed you did not have windows.
yeah, well, and the melee
Yeah.
Admech and veteran cohort can advance and charge
Yeah.
on dudes that are base movement 8 or can go up to base movement 11. So like his list was incredibly good in that terrain format. But I don't know, the more and more I watched the streams for the event, the more and more I was like, do I really want to Austin? Like, I don't know, but we'll see. But
yeah, I'm going. So I'm making a go at it again. I had fun in New Orleans, and I think I just kind of resigned myself to just, my goal is to have fun, and I'm not the take home the GT winners like you are, Dan. So I can kind of resign myself to being in pod 2 a little bit easier than you probably could, but it's still kind of, I don't know. The train was tough, and I've given my take on it before, where it's really great for flyers. Especially with flyers being what the meta is right now. They can roll up and touch the ruins and basically just shoot everything in your army. And that's what a lot of the orc players were doing, was just if the orc players go first, here's all the planes touching your ruins, and you can't hide anything because it is what it is. So they did do a good job with the terrain, though. I liked some of the layouts. Some of the layouts were one of the layouts was funny to me because they put all the -1 to hit terrain in like these outside lanes. And if you look at it, you can see, and it's like they really didn't come into play a whole lot because, those outside lanes aren't where the objectives are. They're not where a lot of shooting goes down. Sure, it occasionally does here and there to pick off a unit or two, but in general, it wasn't really blocking a whole lot to go at the objectives in a lot of ways. So,
yeah.
There was a couple other comments I wanted to read off this here that Old Man Weiss, which you guys, all of us in the Midwest know him, and him and his boy travel all over and go to tournaments, and he's a hoot, man. I love seeing him at tournaments, but it was kind of sad to see this comment. He says, "I've traveled for as long as I can remember. This last weekend was the last event I'm traveling to. These missions are awful. Introducing some in-game missions would help. Game balance is terrible. I will miss people, but I'm not going to spend a fortune to travel to play a substandard game. I hope they address the balance issue. If they do, I'll return, but the community that flocks to the newest meta power list in droves is at least as responsible as GW." That's kind of a good point. Final thought: any war game where you can lose your whole army and control 0 objectives at the end and still win is a shit mission. So, and I do. He did raise an interesting point. That people flock into the meta power list. I have actually seen Dan. I'd hate to defend fucking Dan, but I've seen Dan take Drukari to a tournament and then leave it in the car because he wanted to see what everybody else was doing and decided not to be the power gamer. But it is interesting that he makes a statement.
Well, the ad mech I'm using,
I don't know. You might have invalidated that running the ad mech now, though.
No, I was saying it's not mine. I'm borrowing it. But yeah.
So I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get out of an event, though. So like, for the longest time, I went to events and I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be the fucking best. Like I'm gonna take this, and of course I'd get dumpstered and get upset and not feel it, and then I don't know, man. The community that I've built, the people that I enjoy when I go to a tournament now, it's more or less let me play 5, 6, however many games it's listed. I'm gonna play. Hopefully play them good, play them well, and then like I said, it just depends on what you're trying to get out of it. I don't think Weiss is trying to win the whole thing. Maybe is, but if to me, I don't go to an event because I'm gonna have any chance of winning it. I go to an event because I'm gonna see you guys or see my homies from that I haven't seen in a while. So I think that's the big kicker for me. And
pass out bourbon.
Well, right, yeah, man. Like, and while I enjoy, I want to fucking win. Honestly, I do want to win just as much as the next guy. Like, I'm not going to give you an easy game, But I don't know, man. The community is what keeps me coming back, not the game. So
sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was saying, like this last weekend, I was probably one of my more fun tournaments. Not because I won the tournament, it's because of I played 4 good opponents, plus the ringer. But of those 4 games, 3 of them were really close games. 2 of them weren't decided till the final turn, and one of them wasn't decided till like the end of the 4th turn. So like they were like good, really close games the entire way through. And that's what I like. I don't care if I lose those games or I win those games. I like having close, close
correct,
games. Yeah.
And you'll get that like with your local GTs and things like that. while you'll catch some outlier that may come out from out of town that may be a hot shot, whatever, but you're still going to play people you know, people you don't know, people that you've always wanted to play in your community that you haven't gotten a chance to, and you know, they know your tricks a little bit, you know their tricks a little bit. It makes it a better game, and I think, like I said, what you're getting out of it, I'm trying to catch a buzz and have a good time. So
and I think I'm glad you said that, because that does make me think about a little bit that, that is a lot of the reason I go, and it's, and like we all know the faces, we all know the people. And, when you see your people there, it's always pretty dope, and it's going to make for a good weekend. Even if you're just passing each other on the way to the tables, there's interaction, there's talk, there's, it's, and like Scott, you stayed at my house. Yeah. I wouldn't do that if we didn't make friends at these types of events. So I do think that's some of what keeps me hanging on and going to these events. I just wish it could be, a little bit better game state. So,
and absolutely. And I think as a community, we can just hope that they recognize that, hey, you got a lot of people who want to play your game, and you got a lot of people that want to play competitively, casually, however, and just, do it. We'll help you. Fuck, dude. We got lots of intelligent people in this community that want to write rules. So let's just listen to you guys.
Yeah, there was another funny comment I wanted to read from Jenny Merton. And you guys know Jenny. Speaking of people, I do want to give props. Like, I've watched Jenny go to tournaments and win one game, win two games out the weekend, and like she's still having fun on the last round of the event, playing whoever she's playing. And this is what she had to say about it. She said, for me personally, the local meta has had me stop playing for the most part. Jason, which if you guys don't know, Jason's her husband, and I talked about this earlier. I think it's typo. I told him I'd rather do laundry than play his sister's army. So for the first time since fourth that I felt like this, because she's been in the game a while. So I guess we should just bring back Matt Ward. And in parentheses, not really. And then I ha-ha'd it, and she said, Brian, how do you laugh? But he is so desperate that he's pulling out the GSC. So it wasn't
there's no
combat in the Merton house right now.
Yeah, there's one comment Cornwall made. Where is it? He's kind of one about, he thinks the secondaries are to blame. I think that's a part of it too. Dude, they come out with the new chapter approved. We have been playing this. How long has the game been out? A year and a half, 9th edition. Like, we're still just picking mostly engage and raise banners and rod. Ooh, like the mission, the secondaries are fucking ass still. There's hardly any of them. The books, that's what makes Grey Knight such a strong book, is they have some amazing secondaries. Yeah. So the secondaries are still just hot garbage. Some of the missions, like the mission secondaries, are also all over the damn place. I don't know why GW doesn't adjust them or fix them. And for fuck's sake, in the main rule book, I remember they had a rule, I don't remember what it's called, but they basically had a rule that, like, for example, like reserve units on this mission, like, couldn't come down near the objectives or something. Or they had another one where infiltrating units did not work on that mission. So throw some of that shit in there. Have, like, imagine vital intelligence, but imagine if you couldn't infiltrate things or pregame move things. Like that alone shakes up that mission for how everyone's been playing it for the last year and a half. So I'm not expecting any real changes in that.
And I think that's the same missions again. I'm not buying it. I'm not.
I think no. Yeah. I mean, that'll be the real big tell, is if they do anything with that, whether or not they care. Then they'll be like, oh, fuck you guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year they did. They sold me another book that I already pretty much owned because the year on the cover was different, and a couple paragraphs had changed. And
a couple titles of paragraphs had changed.
Yeah, and if they do that to me again, that's on me at that point. I just won't support it. And and we joke about Crisis Protocol, but I've been playing Crisis Protocol, and like those dudes are going through and like rebalancing all the characters. It's an objective based game. Your opponent might have a different primary mission than you have when you play, and you can try and screw each other out of your primary mission. And it's got some interesting concepts that I really like. And it's a small little skirmish game that you can play in a short amount of time. And like playing that has made me like, second guess what I'm doing the majority of my time with 40K. And like, I love the IP, I love the universe. I love the setting. I love the models. And, I listen to the fiction. I've read the books, and I think you two have also, and that's kind of, I think that's why we're knee deep in it, and it's like they're, at the end of the day, I think they're really riding off the coattails of having like one of the best IPs out there, and that's kind of a sad state to be. But
well, man, I won a gift card last weekend, and I don't even want to go buy any 40K things. I don't have a kill rig for Orcs, but I don't even want to buy them because who the hell knows what they're going to nerf in the Orc book when the FAQ comes out. So I was like, I guess I'm going to go buy some Marvel Crisis Protocol models, and I'll start playing that again. So, but I'm not spending a damn dollar on anything GW until the next round of FAQs and all that shit goes through to see if they got their shit together. So.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna read a couple more of these comments, and then we can call it a night. But Brian Spellerino, or I can't say his name, Spellerio, Brian S. So he said, change the business management of GW, make it employee and consumer equitable, meaning give employees investment in the company, remove the top-down system of control, remove the good old boy employment exploitation system GW has. This would change everything about the company and the game. The employees would work in a system of reward blended with their own personnel investment. The comp rules have more to do with the company than the game. Poor rules are a symptom of a shit corporate culture. Edit, make the company completely democratic to its core. Oh, I don't know if I'm with you on that one, Brian. So he's out there.
All right.
You make your rules writers go to these big events and get their fucking dick punched off, so they come up with a balanced game. So
you just make them go up to the people that are abusing the rules and explain how they're abusing this, and just like, this is how I'm going to win this game on turn one. Watch.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happened with some, in the past. Like, if you ever get a chance to talk to Matt Root, he's got a story about, basically playing an abusive army versus the people that wrote the book. Yes. And they were like, you can do what with that? And next thing you know, like, fixes were in the pipe, because they didn't realize, how bad what they'd written was getting abused. And it was just, until it got them, they really didn't seem to care too much. But there's Dan with his meme, his 40K boner lately. It's a limp cucumber in his hand.
There's one Stowe Reed posted up, all the group's TOs need to divorce GW and go back to their own. Yeah, GW already nipped that in the butt, so
yeah.
So I don't like all the TOs going back to the Wild West or one doing with their own thing. I still think like what the LMC does is the true key, is just make a giant community of judges and TOs that communicate and talk.
Yeah.
Then there's Ray Ahumada.
He's
one. Cool. No, stop being a bitch. And then two, follow up because I don't follow rules. It's obvious based on the spelling in that sentence. You can't call yourself a veteran if you're complaining about power creep or broken shit. It happens every edition, and these conversations come up at some point every edition. And I do think that is, that is a valid point. Like, I do think that a lot of editions, at some point in time, this discussion starts to happen. I'm not sure if that's necessarily what's going on here. I do think there's a sincere issue that needs to be dealt with, and to say like it's the same thing that happens over and over in the past, it's not. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, it's a regression from where we were in 8th.
Yeah.
So GW had gotten better, now they've gotten worse. So
Going back to the
there
old
was
GW.
one.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like-
they just dug themselves into a hole now. Now they don't know how.
Like
Back
it's
out.
like the abusive husband that showed up on the doorstep, said, "I promise I won't do it again, baby." And then you went through that honeymoon period, and next thing you know, you're telling all your friends he pushed you down the stairs, or you fell
Right.
down the stairs.
David Villarreal made a good one. Do it. Run Highlander events. So like,
Those are
you
always
know,
fun. Those are
one-
always fun, but
that you can't
boring
spam
at the same
anything
time.
basically, just one of everything. So
I know guys that build lists that way right now, anyways. So,
yeah,
uh, yeah. Scott Thompson. I'll read the first line. He said, I had some fun games this past weekend. He ran some weird Iron Hands list, didn't he, Dan?
yeah, he run an Iron Hand all vehicle list.
Yeah, he said, but the missions are so fucking boring, and it's pretty obvious that a few armies are overtuned, and that's true. So I've noticed consistently though people are talking about the missions. So maybe that chapter approved when it comes. We should be getting it. Late November, December. When did it come last year? Do you remember?
Thanksgiving, maybe.
When was it?
I want to
No,
say it
we
was
got
late
the
November
last one.
year.
The last one, no. The last one we got was we got it in summer. We got the last chapter approved in this summer after the initial release, which was last summer.
Uh-oh. Zoom just told me my internet connection's unstable. That hasn't happened in a while.
Oh no!
So,
Let's
Ah.
Yeah, I just think new secondaries and new
chapter
missions.
approved. Chapter approved came out in like May, June of this year. That's why I don't know why everyone's saying that it's going to come out in winter. We haven't seen anything that says that.
No,
When the last two
You sure?
chapter, 100%, the last two chapter approves have come out in summer because they released the first one when the game released in July, and this last one came out in May. Yeah,
no, we could
Google
see
it
a
now.
big round of FAQs though.
I just did Google it.
Yeah, we could see a round of FAQs in December.
Yeah, that's what we got earlier this year was
Yeah,
FAQs.
in June, the 1st of June was the FAQs. Yeah,
No, 1st of June was it was FAQs and chapter approved and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think new secondaries, new missions, just so we can try to break the game. Because I mean, the new missions will change up how you can build an army. So, or just go back to magic boxes so fucking planes can't interact with them. Say fucking hey, fuck it, let's just do it.
With fucking freebooters and planes on the goddamn board, Magic Boxes need to make a comeback.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is that's like the thing too is orc planes aren't even necessarily the problem, or buggies or any of that shit. It's freebooters, because like those orc planes is any other faction or sad.
Whatever, it's fucking whatever. Yeah.
Like somebody this weekend I think had like 2 Goth Doka jets, and I was like, man, I feel bad for you because those aren't going to do shit.
Do 1 to 2 wounds a turn with them.
Yeah, you're going to be hitting
Maybe.
on 6s against tons of things.
If they're a T3 model.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, that's that again. That right there is like that'll show when the GW comes down with the nerfs. It'll really show if they understand what the problem is.
Yeah,
it's not so much the buggies and the planes; it's freaking freebooters. So, we'll see.
Well, and I guess I wasn't thinking about that, but even with if the points go up on the buggies, that'd be dope. But with the buggies shooting indirect, like you said, if terrain and line of sight doesn't fucking matter, magic boxes aren't going to help much, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
just make them all individual buggies. Don't let them take 3x3s. Still could probably do the buggy list though, unfortunately. But
I mean, the guy who won SoCal this weekend, he didn't run any
individual. Yeah,
all he had was individual buggies. He didn't run any units. So
and it was still dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Is
see.
what it
I
is.
hope it gets better. I hope the game state gets better.
Again, it beats if you're yeah.
What's that, Dan?
Just we'll see. I'm ready to just bunker down and play some Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we'll wait and see what happens with 40K whenever the next round of stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep. I'll keep riding the train the best I can. Like
Yeah.
It's like I said. I do. That's just part of it for me. Is like I see another GZ come up, and the inner turmoil between going to the GT and seeing homies, versus having the feel bads from play. Like going to the GT and seeing the homies usually wins out. So,
well, for mid mo, I've been running the numbers, and I might switch from Imperium to Admech. So might just go. If I go there and I take Admech, I'm just trying to shit on people. I'm just gonna try to ruin it for them. So,
I think you got a good chance of doing well when you come. 5 flyer list is oppressive.
Well, I only took 3 flyers. So.
Yeah, but you're not playing fucking assassins, and now you can.
No, I'm still taking that Clutch Assassin and put him in my detachment. That dude was my MVP. He was one of the best models. Dude, he was just bolting at the enemy's deployment zone. Dude, I wrote a Grey Knight list with a Clutch Assassin in it. And that's probably not a good idea because the negative affects your own shit.
It'll most likely only fuck you. Really.
Yeah, but that Clutch Assassin was MVP. So can't get rid of him.
You heard it here first. Now everybody's gonna be out there buying Colexus Assassins because Dan was on that. So,
do you know what my first 8th edition army was?
Probably pretty similar to mine.
What was yours?
Mine was Celestine, Bjorn, Gilman, and a bunch of Colexuses to screen all my characters.
How many Colexuses did you have?
I only had 3.
Dude, I had 12.
That's disgusting, dude.
I had 12 of those things. I've been giving away Colexuses for the last couple of years. So
man, it's disgusting, dude.
Cookie was like, "Can I borrow Colexus?" I was like, "Here, you just have one. Hey, take 2." So
oh yeah, that was just like, here's all of them, and then you can't target my whole army.
that was my only
I'll be
regret.
assault in 2 turns. See you soon.
Almost took that to Halo, but that was right as I was getting back into 40K, and I was like, nah, I probably need to get a little more games under my belt before I do that. But I should have taken that list to Halo. It tilted people.
Do you remember the concept was, characters could screen characters, so you just put all your Colexuses in front and no one could shoot your army.
Well, and Colexuses, and if people had heavy weapons and took the -1 to hit, they couldn't even shoot your Colexuses.
Yes, it was gross. It was gross.
I still haven't seen an official model for a Malefic Lord.
No,
it doesn't exist. They don't beat Colexuses though. That's all I know. So.
This is true. Well, fellas, I think all 3 of us are going to mid-mo, aren't we?
Yep.
I'm judging. So
You're judging.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Are you gonna have the whiskey in the pocket though?
I'm gonna have like a cart.
Okay.
Roll around. You guys,
Surround a cart.
Dan, I'll get you a soda. Diet Coke, whatever you like.
Oh man, that'll be a good time.
Just drive around your cart.
I just whoever you're playing, I'll just make sure to give extra shots to.
There you go.
Soften them up.
No, I haven't decided on that. I don't do Orcs, but anyway, if it's my Orcs, if my Orcs is just as bad, it's just a super alpha strike list.
Yeah.
So
just as gross.
Yeah.
Go by and give them icy hot for their butt hurt. That's
dude. Yeah, dude. You'll be needing some Bengay after he's done.
I should have whatever I bring. I should just go get like a bottle of lube and just sit it on the table for every game. you need this? You need this? Here you go. So
use as much.
Use as much as you need.
Yeah.
Until it stops hurting.
Apply generously.
Little gift bags.
Oh man.
On that
That'd be
note, so whoever has played, you know what's going to happen. Dan's going to get like the casual guy that decided to step out for mid.
No, Dan's gonna get you round one, dude.
Dude, Scott Thompson, when they did the pairings and I got to buy and got the ringer, Scott Thompson was so pissed.
Get that pairings luck, dude.
Yeah, he's like, you got the luckiest fucking matchups all the damn time. I was like, I cannot disagree with that. So
Yeah, but then you played like 3 of people that were in like the top 5,
Yeah,
or top 10. So
yeah, I played 3 people that all were in like the top couple. Yeah, so it worked out. All right.
yeah.
But,
Straight
Actually,
schedule
I
is
actually
still
had to earn it
behind,
at the
yes.
end of a GT
Probably.
for once.
so. Yeah.
Well, good guys. Well, final thoughts, and then we can get out of here. Danny, anything else to add?
Hopefully GW fixes the fucking game.
I agree. Scott, yeah,
Just looking forward to seeing you guys at Minmo, man.
yeah. Thanks for coming on tonight, and hopefully come back next week. So,
Oh! Do you know what Saturday at Minmo is?
What's
what
that?
It's my
Daylight.
birthday.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
is it?
All right.
Your November birthday?
Yeah.
So am I. All the cool kids are born in November, apparently.
Did you guys just become best friends?
No. No.
Gotta go.
All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Y'all take
Remember,
it easy.
guys, to go
Everyone.
Peace.
go check out the Patreon and go look at the Lord Marshal for the Lord Marshal standings. They should be going up any week now. We have some actual results from RTTs and tournaments are starting to come in. So we'll start keeping track of those rankings. We'll report them back to you on here. And remember that if wargaming was easy, it would be your mom.
Game over, man. It's game over.